So welcome back to another episode of the Sin Vergüenza Podcast. I'm Magda.
And I'm Cruz.
And I hope everyone's doing good today. So today, Cruz, the fear of disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this topic?
Actually, when we were thinking about the questions for each other, I took a long time to come up with questions just because I feel like it can be so broad, and it's very hard to like ask a question of like, hey, why are you so scared of disappointing your loved ones?
Mm-hmm.
It's so, I mean, it's such an easy question, but there can be broad answers.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like thinking about it, and this topic is like very, I don't know, very hit really close to me. So
How come?
I feel like since the beginning of the podcast too, I've been very open of me being like more of a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that plays a huge part on like being being scared of disappointing people, just because you're just, well, I was always so just expecting to give myself to others just so they won't be disappointed at me, or just to like get along and please people. So I feel like that's why it really hit
It hit home with you.
hit home with me. I feel like I do struggle with that, the disappointment, but I feel like I'm working on it.
I could see that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm working at little steps. And for example, for me, it might look like I'm being mean, but it's just me placing a boundary of my limits, of my new limits. But I feel like it's just a learning process, and I'm barely starting it. Did you ever struggle with having to like disappoint others, or no?
Yeah. I feel like honestly I'm still kind of dealing with it to a certain extent. And I feel like the reason being is because um it's so potent, I guess you could say, in our culture. Like
Yeah.
you see it so much where I feel like it's expected for us to serve others and we kind of see it. I mean, I feel like it's a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a beautiful thing because we are very willing to help and willing
Serve.
to assist and serve people, right? That's our culture. And we actually saw that with the World Cup, you
Yeah.
know, with
We're
the
hosting.
exactly. We're big hosts and we're big givers and it's beautiful. I admire and I'm so proud that we have that instilled in our culture because you don't see that. You don't see that a lot with other people, right? But I feel like there has to be limits because I feel like anything, too much of something can harm you, right? And I feel like I'm still struggling with finding my boundaries too, like you said. Even now as I've gotten older, I feel like I've gotten way better at it in putting myself first. But sometimes I still catch myself, you know, doing things for certain people. Sometimes when, they're not even asked or it's almost when I'm not even asked, it's almost like an expectation. And I automatically assume, that
you have to do it.
yeah. And I feel like there is some type of fear there of like maybe disappointing someone or maybe how they will see me too. Like, oh, like I don't want to seem like too greedy or too egotistical or, in a negative light.
Yeah.
When honestly, like I feel like you said, I've gotten, and I feel like you can say the same, you've gotten better. It's a work in progress. But I feel like there is, something there where we have to be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves why we do certain things. Is it something with that you actually, find joy within yourself doing something for someone? Or is it because there's some fear that, you may be judged or you might be perceived a certain way?
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like I've gotten a lot better about it. Do you feel like besides our culture, have you experienced on your end personally, like certain actions or certain things that people have said to you that maybe have conditioned you to be a certain way?
Honestly, I feel like I've always been such a people pleaser that you, like going back, I don't even know how it started, because it started like very young. Even, yeah, very young. Even when I was a little girl, before like school, like before going to school and stuff like that. Like even with my sister. So like I feel
Yeah.
like I've always been like that. And maybe it might be the older sister role, how it started, of like taking care, And I used to be like, well, I still am. I um how do you say, I cover up for her a lot, and I feel like I did that just as like the older sister. So I feel like it kind of started like that too, and then it just bled on to like in school, maybe just to want to fit in and get along, just do what I think people see right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it did maybe start. I feel like it started at a very young age, so I can't really pinpoint exactly when.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of times we see it from just example, It's
Yeah.
not necessarily that we have someone say some certain things to you, but
Mhm.
sometimes we see other family members doing certain things
Yeah.
and we kind of mirror those actions in a way.
Mhm. Now that you say that, I think my parents, because growing up, my my house was always the family house where like my cousins, uncles, aunts would like gather during the weekends and stuff like that, and I would see my parents, whatever they had, they would offer, they would cook for them. They could grab whatever they want. Like my cousins could grab whatever they want, and I feel like maybe that's where it comes from too. Because growing up, not thinking about it, it really does resemble that a lot.
You mirror those
Hmm.
actions,
And I see that as normal.
Yeah.
Hmm. Earlier with your statement, you said that you started to put boundaries. What type of boundaries did you start putting, like with your family?
Mm, I guess it just depends on the person. But for me, I feel like it could be as simple as just scheduling stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because with me having school, work, the
Yeah.
podcast, there's just certain things that I'm like, hey, I cannot fit this into my schedule,
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I feel like it gets to a point too where it's almost like you fear that disappointment, like you're letting them down. But a lot of the times
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we assume that we're disappointing those people.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, they may not even think of it as disappointment and be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, my like for example, my mom, there's four of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
My sister, me, my little brother, which he's now 19 years old, and my littlest brother, which he's actually going into high school. So there's four of us. And I feel like I caught myself a lot of the times there was a lot of responsibility on me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm one of the oldest, one, and then two, I don't have any kids. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I automatically they assume like, oh, okay, well, Yareli, that's what they call me. They're like, okay, well, she's got free time. She doesn't have any
Yeah.
kids, blah, blah, blah. But no, just because I don't have kids doesn't mean I don't have any other responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to put my foot down there, like, hey, I can't do this. Like I have other commitments.
Yeah.
And at first, I feel like they kind of did kind of catch them off guard because they were so used to always
Mm-hmm.
me holding that weight.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, hey, my sister's boys, they're getting older. They don't really depend on a lot on
Uh-huh.
her. They can be
Mm-hmm.
left alone for a certain amount of time. And then we have my little brother too. He's 19 years old. He
Mm-hmm.
drives, he works, he can pick up some of the slack too. So it's like it's a group effort. And I did have to kind of shine light on that because I feel like they even maybe get used to a certain way of living or like a
Mm-hmm.
certain system that we have. But we're getting older, schedules change, commitments change.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's where I had to kind of put boundaries like, hey, I can't do this, but I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's where you kind of have to put yourself first, where there's certain responsibilities that you may have
Yeah.
too, to maybe to yourself or to other people that need to come first as
Mm-hmm.
well. Do you have anything like that where you maybe need to put boundaries or have thought about putting boundaries or have struggled to put boundaries?
I feel like I'm still struggling to put boundaries, especially since I'm still, most of the time I say yes to a lot of things. Like, oh, can you do this for me? I'm gonna say yes. But I feel like, for example, this week, I said no. I basically said no, and they got mad for it. But at the same time, I didn't. I feel like it wasn't my responsibility when usually they just give it to me and I'll take care of it. That's usually how I am. But for the first time, I was like, no, I don't actually want to. I think you can do it because they could do it, and they got mad, and they still are mad at me. But at the same time, it's part of the for them to not. It's because hearing you speak from your example, it's more of like your time is also valuable.
Mhm.
And that's how it just came to my mind when I was hearing you speak. And my time is also valuable, and their time is also valuable. I'm not saying theirs isn't important, but I feel like I can do things whenever, if I don't feel up to it, or I think, oh, they can do it. Like, they don't need my help. They can, like, allow them. Don't.
Because it's almost like you're crutching them to a certain extent sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
also because you're always doing certain things.
So I feel like that's where I am with setting boundaries. I'm barely starting it, like barely, and the reactions I'm gonna get are not gonna be good. From example this week, but I feel like it's just a learning process.
Oh yeah. And I feel like with anything new, it may be uncomfortable at first,
Yeah.
and then that's a given with anything new, especially if you've never really put a boundary with certain things like that.
Yeah.
It's going to catch them off guard, but I feel like they will come around, they may process certain thoughts, certain feelings and emotions, but they'll come around because well, at least if they care and respect your time and your relationship, they will come around. Because I've been in certain situations where sometimes people don't like it. And I'm like, okay, well, why do you not like it? Is it because, is it an inconvenience to you? So you want to inconvenience me instead? That's not fair. That's something that needs to be dissected. So, okay, so we're talking about disappointing people. What about disappointing yourself? Do you feel like you've disappointed yourself in certain things? Or you maybe choose not to do certain things because you feel like you'll disappoint yourself?
Oh my gosh, you said that, and so I just felt like crying. I don't know why.
Aww.
Yeah. Okay, don't. You got this. Uh, I feel like anybody. Well, speaking for me, I feel like anybody has the fear of like disappointing or failing. So that fear is like always there, and so it does stop you in many ways. And what was the question?
I was asking you, do you feel like there's fear in disappointing yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think my reaction is pretty clear about it. No, yeah, there is a lot of fear of disappointing myself, especially if I'm scared of disappointing the people that I love. Imagine myself. Are you afraid of disappointing yourself?
I feel like I can say that I probably have had my moments. I feel like it's more of disappointing other people, but then I get to thinking, I'm like, that kind of goes in hand because if I know who I am, I shouldn't. I feel like I battle more with disappointing other people with fear of that. But the way I kind of taught myself out of it, knowing who I am and acknowledging me, knowing and realizing who I am and knowing myself, like to my core, should be enough to not allow those fears of disappointing other people get to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if those people are, and don't get me wrong, I've done things that I have disappointed other people. Like I know I have. I know there's been fuck ups that I've had, and I feel like I've said this on this podcast before. When it comes to your loved ones, there's no such thing as a perfect relationship, whether it be romantic or platonic or your family member. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. And I feel like as long as there's accountability and communication, I feel like those are the biggest aspects in a relationship. Yeah. And I'll be the first one to say that I have fucked up and I have disappointed other people. But I feel like what I will say is I try to take accountability.
You own up to it.
And I try to communicate to that person and be like, hey, especially if it's my loved one, especially if it's someone that I value their relationship with, I would expect for them to see me for who I am and see those mistakes as we all make mistakes, right? But I feel like the thing is you just have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself and own up to it.
Also, that's why I was also struggling with when I was coming up with questions, just because from the 30 episodes we recorded with each other, I kind of get the grasp of like how you are. It was kind of hard because you always say you're kind of like my sister, and then you're kind of like me. So sometimes instead of asking you the questions, I kind of ask her the questions because I know her more. And so it's very hard because you guys give up a really different type of energy than the type of energy I give off. And so when I was coming up with the questions, like I was like, I know she still has the fear of disappointing people, but I feel like she's in a point in her life too where she knows herself.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like it's very hard to come up with questions, especially in this topic, because I feel like a lot of the questions that I even wrote to you, it was more of like very broad questions where I was like, I know I can do better, but it's like I know her from the times we've had together that she knows herself, so it's very hard. That's why I was also struggling with the questions.
Oh, I'm actually gonna take that as a compliment. That's really
No,
sweet.
as you should, because it is a very good thing that you know yourself and you should be proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am. And honestly, it does. It takes a lot of self-work, and it takes a lot of dissecting certain feelings and thoughts, because I feel like a lot of people tend to avoid, those uncomfortable feelings. They tend to avoid feeling, I don't necessarily want to say negative, but there's scary feelings. There's scary feelings that may arise when you make certain decisions, when you put certain boundaries, right? When it's new. And I feel like that's where growth is. And I feel like a lot of the times we shy away from that. So it does. It takes a lot of work to get to a point where you feel comfortable enough and communicating and certain boundaries and setting those expectations that you may have for yourself and for others. It does. It takes time. It's not, it hasn't always been nice and pretty, I feel like that's what I will say is it takes a lot of work with anything. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I don't want it to come off like you don't have any, like you're very
flaws.
No,
but
me. When it comes to this topic, I feel like you've learned a lot from your years of life that you kind of know yourself more.
Yeah. And I will say, obviously, and I feel like most people will agree, it's easier when it comes to people that are extended from you. I feel like you always kind of have a soft spot for your family.
Yeah.
For your immediate family. And the way I see it is your immediate family, because they're the ones that love you the most, right? They're supposed to be the ones that love you the most. They're supposed to be the ones that respect you the most and protect you the most and value the most. And if they see that, hey, this may be hindering you or this may be inconveniencing you, taking away from you in any way, you would think that they would understand and respect a certain boundary that you place, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like having that expectation on people, I feel like it kind of weeds out the people that you don't want in your circle, So, and again, I don't want to say that's tough work, but that is something that we do have to face in our personal life if you want to get to a place of contentment and happiness and peace, overall peace. Because I feel like if you don't face that head on, you're just prolonging it. You're just prolonging I don't want to necessarily say suffering, but,
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have that with certain people, like the fear of disappointment, more with other people? Like, say, for example, like we're talking about our immediate family. Is it easier for you with certain people to put certain boundaries, or?
Honestly, I think it's both ways, extended and immediate family. Because I feel like I was always people pleaser saying yes. So I feel like now that I'm older and they ask for a favor and I say no, they're going to take it bad. And I'm talking about like more of my extended family. And at the end of the day, like, and I don't know why, but these couple of months have been very proof of it, that it doesn't matter if I say no or if I say no or I say something but they take it the wrong way. It's like they forget all the past things, all the good things that I've done to help them, and that one bad thing in their eyes just sticks with them, and that's how they're gonna perceive me now. And I've noticed that a lot more recently.
Really?
Yeah. And it kind of I feel like they've always done that. For example, my mom, she's had to deal with that. And now I'm seeing it being done to me. And it's kind of, maybe it's more of like they're trying to make us feel guilty so we can go back to that.
It's like a guilt trip.
Yeah. And I know it's not right. And I know I'm conscious of it. So that's a good thing. But it still hurts because they forget all the good things you've done. And they only see that one bad thing or the one time you say no to them.
Yeah.
And it really sucks because it's like, do you not see all the things I've done? And you're just going to tacharme because I didn't do this.
Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, you see that a lot within families. And all I can say to that is, honestly, from my experience, is hold your ground, stand your ground. Because again, it's going to be uncomfortable on both ends, you know? And I feel like it does get to a point where they either come around or they don't. And that's how you kind of start weeding out certain relationships. Not to say that you completely cut out people depending on the relationship, but you kind of start, because I feel like the way I see it is I have my relationships are within like a certain tier, you know, like closer, like they're kind of rings, you know, like there's the inner ring, like the really, really close circle. And then there's an outer ring and an outer ring and an outer ring. And it kind of goes on kind of like that. Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when you, as a responsible adult and a person that, you know, a person that you would hope you love yourself enough to start setting certain relationships where they correspond.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, no, it's not fair.
No, it's not. And like my mom says, if right now they might be mad at me, but then eventually if they need my help, they're going to be like, they're going to forget about it. Or they might not forget about it, but they might just act like it never happened, and then they're going to go back to it again. And stuff like, yeah, and it's a cycle. So you are right about putting people in their spot on how you want them to be in a relationship in your life. I have a question for you now. Kind of going back to how you were explaining your situation and how you have, for example, you have younger siblings and you kind of take the role, like have a motherly role, especially with them. Do you think they might ever be scared of you, of like disappointing you? Or do you think you have people around you who might be scared to disappoint you?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you have that role of like kind of, I kind of see like my brother. I'm scared to disappoint my older brother.
Oh, yeah. So you're scared to disappoint me too?
Yeah, I'm scared to disappoint you and Darian. Like, not gonna lie, like I'm scared to disappoint anybody. Like, especially people who I care about most.
Yeah.
So, do you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, I feel like I'm one of them already.
I can see that, and I feel like a lot of the times. Darian has actually told me this, and I've been working on it because I feel like we've said this before. I can be very direct, and I feel like I would hope, because I definitely see that, and I just, you know, with you, with my little siblings as well and other people, and I feel like I would want them to know and understand that as long as you are being true to who you are and you're happy and you care and you love yourself, I feel like that's honestly what any parent, because now how you mentioned, like, you know, like a mom or like a parent figure or something with my siblings, I feel like that's what any parent or healthy parent would want for their child, is like, hey, as long as you are happy and you're taking care of yourself, like, you do you know? I feel like there shouldn't really be a fear of disappointment there, but I can definitely see why there would be a certain fear, because I am guilty of being very direct. And I feel like another thing too is like, I really need to work on just letting people be and letting them choose what they want for their life, because I feel like what I've struggled with, and not even just my siblings, but people that are older than me too, I see so much potential in them, and I see so much that they can do so much better, whether it be the person that they're dating, whether it be their job, whether it be their certain values or decisions that they just make for themselves. You know, I'm like, yo, like, you could do so much more, you could do so much better. but it's not my life. It's not my
Mhm.
life to live, you know? And I feel like I really need to stand by, hey, as long as you're happy and you're taking care of yourself, that's all that matters, you
Mhm.
know? Because I feel like because of that, because of how much love I may have for a person and I see that potential, I might come off really strong there, like seeing that potential and trying to pull it out, you know?
Mhm.
But it's not for me to pull out. It's for them themselves to come out in their own terms.
Yeah.
So I definitely can see why someone would be afraid to disappoint me. But I really hope that, you know, that clears the air. I feel like there would be no such thing. I feel like if you love yourself and you care and you're taking care of yourself, that's more than enough.
But I feel like it's not more. Yeah, well, it is fear, but I feel like it comes from maybe having a lot of respect towards that person, especially with the ones you love. I feel like you have so much respect for them. You really don't want to mess it up,
Mm-hmm.
and it might not just be for me, but it's just like I really don't want to mess it up for them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of goes back to just taking accountability,
Yeah.
you know, just taking accountability, communicating. Because if you were to mess up, and again, I've been in that boat too, where I've disappointed a loved one, you know,
Mhm.
and me knowing the true essence of who you are and knowing that you didn't mean harm or you didn't mean to hurt me or you didn't have
Mhm.
those intentions, you take accountability, we communicate. I feel like those are like foundations to healthy relationships,
Yeah.
you know, regardless the type of relationship it is, communication and
Mhm.
accountability, you know? I feel like that's the important thing.
Speaking and then hearing you speak and then hearing myself speak. Something that came to mind is that if those people around me who really care about me, if I mess up or if in my eyes I disappoint them, they're still gonna they're still gonna be there for support, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how right now that's how I'm seeing it, and I feel like that's what I want to take too. And second, don't be too hard on myself because I do beat up myself more than I should, and I know that I do whatever I can, but I shouldn't beat myself up for it too.
Mm-hmm.
And then another boundary maybe continue what I'm doing, and if they get mad, they get mad, and it's gonna be okay. If they care about me, like I said earlier, they're gonna be there. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's another one, and I don't know, baby steps.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
always
like
say that.
yeah, I feel like right now those are my takes, but maybe in the future I might have new ones.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Those are good ones, though.
Mhm.
I like them. And I feel like mine kind of go hand in hand. That's what I would say. And I still, you know, it's a work in progress, even
Yeah.
for me, too. But I feel like a really important question that I find myself asking myself when it comes to those moments where I may be conflicted and disappointing someone or, you know, disappointing myself even is ask yourself the question, are you doing this for yourself because you actually want to, or are you doing it because you're afraid of how that person may react?
Mhm.
And I feel like once you ask yourself that question, it kind of guides you into the right direction to
Mhm.
put yourself first. Because we always say that, you know, we always go to the analogy about the airplane. You
Yeah.
have to make sure you're okay first before you go and help others.
Mhm.
And if it's someone that loves you and respects you, if it's someone that's close to you, you would hope that they have
Mhm.
that respect for yourself and allow you to put yourself first
Mhm.
and give you that, you know, that love and respect that you should have within the relationship. It should be mutual. So I
Mhm.
feel like that's one question. If you ever catch yourself, you know, doing certain things that may seem confusing or you are just not too sure on how to navigate those decisions, ask yourself that question. And I feel like it can help clear up the air
Yeah.
and for you to be guided into the right direction.
I
But
like
yeah.
that too. Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add, Cruz?
No, I don't. I like this episode though.
Me too. Me too. I feel like we're kind of deconstructing certain behaviors that we have in our culture. And
Yeah.
I feel like this is what the podcast is about,
Mhm.
to just better ourselves and better future generations and, you
Mhm.
know, as a community to just be better, to be
Yeah.
the best version of ourselves I feel like that's always my take.
Yes.
But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know any future topics that you may be interested in hearing from us. Let us know of any suggestions or ideas, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.